All right, this is Joshua. Start series episode 6. Not as scenic as normal because I am not on lunch break in downtown Minneapolis, but instead I'm in my backyard in South Minneapolis. But it is slightly warmer than the last couple of videos, so that's sick. Okay, so the Start series is a daily series of short videos about just kind of getting up and started on a new project, mostly related to creativity, but I feel like it's applicable to anything that you just sort of need to do and need to start tracking and making progress on. So today's video is about figuring out, so the whole philosophy is like you need to start making stuff and you need to start sharing it or publishing it in some way, and not everything is worthy of necessarily being published at any given step. So what I'm going to talk about today is just like a couple ways that you might be able to start a project just to get in the habit of making. So the thing I'll also kind of start with is like, obviously, one, I'm making these videos on a daily basis, right? I do them over my lunch break. Today it's kind of a little bit later than lunch. I'm about to go somewhere, car's warming up. It's kind of a perfect time to do it because I need to keep an eye and make sure no one steals my car. But what this sort of started was, the first video was just kind of an impulse to do. I actually went out on my lunch break and just decided I needed to take some pictures because I felt like my Instagram was kind of boring lately, and so I just wanted to go and make some art. And then that kind of kept happening, and I go through sort of phases like that where I'd like just dedicate a certain amount of time every day towards making something. Like it might be 5:30 in the kitchen while like getting some food ready and be like, okay, I'm gonna make something interesting in the next 5 minutes. Which doesn't sound like the hugest commitment, but what happens is as you sort of commit and as you get into a schedule, you start to have this expectation that you're going to do something every day. So like this video isn't hard to do at all because I already planned that sometime between say noon and 2, I was going to make a short video about this topic. I thought about it last night, and then and all day long I've sort of been thinking about like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. But this whole thing is sort of self-contained. So like, what if you're doing something else? And it's like, if you want to start getting in the habit of taking pictures, I would just like set an alarm of like, what's the time of day where you could start doing that without really even impinging on your lifestyle. If you're just like, well, I usually leave work at 5. What if you just delay doing something until 5:15, and from 5 to 5:15 you wander your office, or you take the long way to get to your car, to the train or whatever, and you just commit like, I'm going to take a picture. Well, I'm probably going to take 20 pictures, but I'm going to publish one picture once I've gone through these 15 minutes. Or like a thing that I used to do that I haven't done in a while because I just don't feel as compelled to do it anymore is I would go through like local music events, look for one show that looked reasonably interesting, and I would design a flyer. I'd set an egg timer for 8 to 12 minutes and just set a bunch of rules: black and white, typography only, one font, no tricks. And I would do one, and then I'd set the timer again, and I would do another. And like 20 minutes a day, you start to build up stuff and you start to learn things from the day before. Another sort of really silly example of something that I do like this right now is I am too lazy to work out. Actually, it's probably not true. I'm probably too busy and too lazy, and I refuse to stop watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So I don't work out. So my solution to that, because earlier this year, I think I gained like 15 pounds in like 2 months or something ridiculous because I was just like working all day long and eating like shit. It finally caught up to me where I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So instead of trying to work out, which I'm totally going to fail at, I just said, every time I go to the bathroom, I'm going to do push-ups. And that's literally it. That's all I do. Is like, on my way to the bathroom, I either step into a conference room or I take the giant handicap stall, so I'm way away from the toilet, and I do, I guess I started with 8 push-ups every time, and then it graduated to 10, and then 12, and then like 14. It used to be every other day. Now I do it every day. So every day I somehow get between 48 and, I don't know, 80 push-ups in a day, which in the grand scheme of things is not super consequential, but I can tell that I am like more muscular than I've ever been. It's still totally embarrassing. I still look like shit, but whatever. But it totally makes a difference, and you start to push yourself. The same with another tactic might be like if you want to start painting, like a painting could be considered like a bigger undertaking than making a little 3 or 5 minute video every day. So let's say you get your tools out and you set a schedule like every other day or every day or whatever it's going to be. I think I can paint for 20 minutes. And it seems inconsequential, though those 20 minutes will add up. And by the end of the week, you'll have spent, I don't know, 2 hours on it or something like that, because I'm terrible at math. But in order to like sort of keep your publishing idea going, what if during that you just commit to, once I finish that 20 minutes, I'm going to take one detail shot of that painting and publish it on Instagram. And like that's going to be the way that I share it with the world. Or I'm just going to take one photo from my immediate surroundings and publish that. If you're going to start writing a screenplay, like maybe you start writing a novel, and again, like that's a little bit like harder to publish on a daily basis because there's maybe you want to go back and forth, but maybe you just take one line from it, give it some kind of hashtag like whatever, Joshua's novel or whatever, and you just take one line and you post it to Twitter. So you set a timer every day, and either you spend a certain amount of time on it or you have a certain physical amount. Like I'm going to write a page of dialogue. Once I do that, I'm done. Or I'm going to set it for 20 minutes or a half hour. And then once you're done with that, just find some little way to share that, a line from it, a photograph of the page, whatever it is. Just something where you're starting to get that momentum that comes from publishing. There's a momentum that comes from doing, no doubt. There's also a momentum that comes from publishing, because you start to feel like you have even if your audience is tiny, you start to feel like you have an audience and that there's some importance to it. So whatever it is you want to do, there's some corollary to this. It's not necessarily share the exact thing you're doing. Like I haven't figured out yet how I might work these videos into YouTube. Maybe every day I'll just do a photo from the immediate vicinity, or maybe I'll just post one sentence. I'm not really sure. I should probably figure that out. But it's not necessarily that you have to make the same thing for every channel, that the painting has to necessarily be a painting on a channel, but that you could do something really simple. Like you could make a 15-second little movie and post that on Instagram, or an 8-second little kind of moving detail, whatever it is. But figure out some kind of byproduct that you can start sharing, and just get in that habit of like once a week or daily. I prefer daily, but once a week is cool too. All right. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you got a question or a comment, leave it. Otherwise, I don't know. Have a good Saturday. Thanks.